Hello, Blythe, Evie, Joe, Jack, Callum, Cadence, Lucy, Orion, and anyone else who's listening to Story Time. Welcome. Today's story is A Chair for My Mother, written by Vera B. Williams and illustrated by her as well. A Chair for My Mother by Vera B. Williams. This was one of Julia's favorite stories as a little girl. She heard it on Reading Rainbow and then asked if we could get it. So we've read this many times. The dedication says, "To the memory of my mother, Rebecca Porringer Baker." So the story begins. My mother works as a waitress in the Blue Tile Diner. After school, sometimes I go to meet her there. Then her boss, Josephine, gives me a job too. I wash the salts and peppers and fill the ketchups. One time I peeled all the onions for the onion soup. When I finish, Josephine says, "Good work, honey," and pays me. And every time I put half of my money into the jar. Wow. It takes a long time to fill a jar this big. Every day when my mother comes home from work, I take down the jar. My mama empties all her change from tips out of her purse for me to count. Then we push all of the coins into the jar. Sometimes my mama is laughing when she comes home from work. Sometimes she's so tired she falls asleep while I count the money out into piles. Some days she has lots of tips. Some days she has only a little. Then she looks worried. But each evening, every single shiny coin goes into the jar. Wow. See, her mother works as a waitress, so the amount of money she makes mainly comes from tips. We sit in the kitchen to count the tips. Usually Grandma sits with us too. While we count, she likes to hum. Often she has money in her old leather wallet for us. Whenever she gets a good bargain on tomatoes or bananas or something she buys, she puts by the savings and they go into the jar. Wow, so everybody in the family's contributing to the jar. When we can't get a single other coin into the jar, we are going to take out all the money and go and buy a chair. Yes, a chair. A wonderful, beautiful, fat, soft armchair. We will get one covered in velvet with roses all over it. We are going to get the best chair in the whole world. That is because our old chairs burned up. There was a big fire in our other house. All our chairs burned. So did our sofa, and so did everything else. That wasn't such a long time ago. Wow, look at that beautiful chair. So I think she's going to tell us about the fire. My mother and I were coming home from buying new shoes. I had new sandals. She had new pumps. We were walking to our house from the bus. We were looking at everyone's tulips. She was saying she liked red tulips. I was saying I liked yellow ones. Then we came to our block. Look, do you see the red tulips and the yellow tulips? And how the mother's likes red, so her pumps are next to the red, and Rosa likes likes yellow, so her sandals are next to the yellow. So they came to their block. Right outside our house stood two big fire engines. I could see lots of smoke. Tall orange flames came out of the roof. All the neighbors stood in a bunch across the street. Mama grabbed my hand and we ran. My Uncle Sandy saw us and ran to us. Mama yelled, "Where's Mother?" I yelled, "Where's my grandma?" My Aunt Ida waved and shouted, "She's here, she's here, she's okay, don't worry." Grandma was all right. Our cat was safe too, though it took a while to find her. But everything else in our whole house was spoiled. What was left of the house was turned to charcoal and ashes. We went to stay with my mother's sister, Aunt Ida, and Uncle Sandy. Then we were able to move into the apartment downstairs. We painted the walls yellow. The floors were all shiny, but the rooms were very empty. So they're having to start all over again. Look at that. The first day we moved in, the neighbors brought pizza and cake and ice cream. Wow. And they brought a lot of other things too. The family across the street brought a table and 3 kitchen chairs. The very old man next door gave us a bed from when his children were little. My other grandpa brought us his beautiful rug. My mother's other sister, Sally, had made us red and white curtains. Mama's boss, Josephine, brought pots and pans, silverware and dishes. My cousin brought me her own stuffed bear. Everyone clapped when my grandma made a speech. "You are all the kindest people," she said, "and we thank you very much. It's lucky we're young and can start all over." Wow, look at all the wonderful things the neighbors are doing. That was last year, but we still have no sofa and no big chairs. When Mama comes home, her feet hurt. "There's no good place for me to take a load off my feet," she says. When Grandma wants to sit back and hum and cut up potatoes, she has to get as comfortable as she can on a hard kitchen chair. So that is how come Mama brought home the biggest jar she could find at the diner, and all the coins started to go into the jar. Now the jar is too heavy for me to lift down. Uncle Sandy gave me a quarter. He had to boost me up so I could put it in. Wow, look at all those coins. You can see there's quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies. And look, there's a drawing of a dime right on the very bottom of the page. After supper, Mama and Grandma and I stood in front of the jar. "Well, I never would have believed it, but I guess it's full," Mama said. My mother brought home little paper wrappers for the nickels and the dimes and the quarters. I counted them all out and wrapped them all up. On my mother's day off, we took all the coins to the bank. The bank exchanged them for $10 bills. Then we took the bus downtown to shop for our chair. The little paper wrappers are like round the size of the coin, and you stack them all in the paper wrappers. And each coin has its own amount. Like you put 50 nickels in for 50 cents. You put quarters come to $10, and nickels come to 2.50, dimes come to $5. So that's the way we used to have to count coins. Now they have those fancy machines that you just dump the coins into and they count them for you. But what they did was counted them all up and put them into paper wrappers. So then they went shopping. We shopped through 4 furniture stores. We tried out big chairs and smaller ones, high chairs and low chairs, soft chairs and harder ones. Grandma said she felt like Goldilocks in the 3 Bears trying out all the chairs. Look at them trying out all those different chairs. Look at Grandma sitting up on that big yellow chair. Finally, we found the chair we were all dreaming of, and the money in the jar was enough to pay for it. We called Aunt Ida and Uncle Sandy. They came right down in their pickup truck to drive the chair home for us. They knew we couldn't wait for it to be delivered. Wow, look at that chair of their dreams sitting right in the middle of that floor. I tried out our chair in the back of the truck. Mama wouldn't let me sit there while we drove. That's not very safe, is it? But they let me sit in it while they carried it up to the door. Wow. So she got to sit in it while they carried it up into her apartment. We set the chair right beside the window with the red and white curtains. Grandma and Mama and I all sat in it while Aunt Ida took our picture. Now Grandma sits in it and talks with people going by in the daytime. Mama sits down and watches the news on TV when she comes home from her job. After supper, I sit with her and she can reach right up and turn out the light if I fall asleep in her lap. Oh, look at Mama turning out the light because her little girl is falling asleep in her lap in that big cozy chair. And look at that picture of all 3 of them sitting in the chair. And then look at Mama and Rosa looking straight into the camera for that other picture. The end. I hope you liked that story. That was a nice, big, soft chair they got for their house, wasn't it? Tomorrow, we will be reading I Am Enough, and it will be read by our special guest reader, Blythe Matthews, who does a fabulous job reading stories for us. Blythe will be reading tomorrow I Am Enough, written by Grace Byers and illustrated by Katura A. Bobo. I think you'll really like it. So take good care of yourselves, keep loving on each other, always love yourselves, and never forget that I love you all to the moon and back. We'll be back tomorrow for story time when Blythe reads I Am Enough. Bye-bye.